Erev Tov, Rabotai. I want to tell you something interesting about the Kiddush that we do. You know, a lot of us use not wine, but we use grape juice, right? Kedem. Especially the older people, you know, they cannot tolerate wine, so they prefer grape juice. Or the women, the ladies also. So the question is like this, right? That this grape juice that we're using, Kedem, most of us using Kedem. It's made out of concentrate, you know. If you look at the label, if you look at the ingredients, right, it's not just regular grape juice, you know, which is squeezed out. Part of it is like that. But there's also another part of it which is made from concentrate. So what does this mean, concentrate? It means that they take the grape juice and they dry it, you know, with heat, you know, they whatever, you know, with some kind of heat source, right? So it dries out and becomes like a jelly, you know, like a syrup, you know. And then what they do is when they want to put it in the bottle, they add water, you know, more, right, to bring it back to what it was before. It's called concentrate, right? In the old days, they used to call that reconstituted, you know, juice, right? That was the old name. Doesn't matter, it's all the same, right? So the question is, are you allowed to make Kiddush with juice like this, you know, which is reconstituted, you know, right, concentrate? This is the question. Yes. So the truth is, you know, if you look on the bottle, it says there, yeah, it's a kosher, you know, they have nice sign over there, you know, with some rabbi, you know, and this and that, right? I don't know. By the way, I don't know who this rabbi is. I have no idea. I don't know who he is. But anyway, right, the point is, they say 100%, right, everything is good. But then, you know, if you look in the poskim in Eretz Israel, right, the rabbis over there, they don't like to use this juice for Kiddush. They don't really allow it so much.
They don't do tirosh?
Tirosh, right, but tirosh is, you know, freshly squeezed, you know, juice. It's not concentrate. You understand? That's the thing.
But
yeah.
Juice usually come 100% juice.
Yeah, it's 100%, right, that's the thing. But, you know, they take the water out and then put it back in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it depends how much grapes and how much water.
They do the proper ratio. That's not a problem, right? They know what the ratio is, right? It's like 1-4, you know, 1/4, whatever, something like that. It's all good. They know what they're doing. But the thing is, right, that the rabbis over there, they don't like this method. You can drink it. They don't care. You know, you can drink it. But they say don't do Kiddush with it. Or Havdala. You know, also, same thing. What's the reason why? Because they say, you know, this is brought down Or Letzion, Chacham Ben Zion Abba Shaul. He writes in his book, the problem is like this, you know, once they make it dry, right, so it becomes like honey, you know, like a syrup, thick. You know? So what happens is that once it becomes thick like that, becomes like a food, you know, it's not drink anymore, it's ochel, it's a food. You know, let me ask you a question, is honey a drink or is it food? It's food, right? That's the thing, you know? That's why we make shehakol on honey, right? Okay, anyway, right, the point is that he says that once it becomes food, it cannot go back to being wine again, right? It cannot be such a thing like that. Once it becomes food, it stays food. So according to that, what's the bracha? Shehakol, right? Not Borei Pri HaGefen. That's what he says. So according to him, you know, we're not allowed to use this kind of juice for Kiddush. There's also other Chachamim, you know, that wrote about this. Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, right, in his book called Minchat Shlomo. Over there he says, right, a little bit different than Chacham Ben Zion, not exactly the same. He says that, yeah, okay, you know, bracha is Borei Pri HaGefen, not Shakol. He says it's Borei Pri HaGefen, the bracha. Right, Rav Shlomo Zalman, Rabbi Auerbach. But he says, on the other hand, he says, don't make Kiddush with it. He doesn't allow to make Kiddush with this one. He also agrees. Why? Because of the shiur, you know. The problem is, how much do you need, right? You need revi'it to make, you know, which is 3 ounces. But the question is the revi'it, the shiur, after you add the wine or before? After you add the water or before you add the water? He's not really sure about that, you know. So he says, therefore, he says, don't make Kiddush on this kind of juice. So he also agrees not to do it. There's also other rabbis.
How about wine kedem for $4 for Kiddush?
Yeah, wine is not, it's not concentrate. It's good, right? It's good. Yeah. There's different issues with that, but I'm not going to get into it now. There's a different time. We'll talk about that. but it's not concentrate, that wine. So only the juices, you know. So there's also other chachamim, you know, that we heard also. Rabbi Eliashiv also, you know, he said not to make kiddush with this wine. So that's why, you know, the truth is that in Israel they don't use this grape juice, you know, for kiddush. Only fresh grape juice, you know, freshly squeezed, like Carmel Mizrahi, right, and all the other. By the way, you know how many companies in Israel making juice, grape juice? 10 companies, 20 companies. There's a lot of companies over there, you know, making wine and juice, grape juice, a lot. So here we only have like one or two, you know, that's it, that's all we got, you know. It's very standard. There's not much of a choice, you know. I'm not talking about wines, I'm talking about the juice. Okay, whatever. So that's the thing, you know. So I was interested to see. And then, you know, what I saw was something interesting, right? Which is that, you know, that right now, coming up, after Rosh Chodesh, Gimel, Cheshvan, the Yortzeit of Maran, Rabbi Danielov, this is Yortzeit. Right? Coming up. So, he passed away already a long time ago, 13 years ago, whatever it was. Right? So, apparently, right, what happened was that after he passed away, after he was niftar, he had tshuvot, you know, that he wrote in halakha that were never published, you know. They were just like, you know, in the closet, in the box, you know, somewhere, never published. So what they did was, you know, his son, right, Moshe, right, he published, you know, those tshuvot afterwards. He had a team of Talmidei Chachamim, you know, who put them together, organized them, you know, and published them. So that's why we have 2 new books now that came out, you know, from Maran, even though he's already not here with us, right? He's in Gan Eden. You know? But we have two more books. Which one is that? We have Yebi Omer, right? Chelek Yud Aleph, 11th volume Yebi Omer. And also we have Yechavedat, Chelek Zayin, also like a new volume. Maran never put out this book. His son did it with his team of people, right? So what happened was that over there, the new book that I saw, all of a sudden, right? We see that there's a tshuva over there about this topic, right? The reconstituted, right, juice, right? The concentrate. So now we see that Maran, right, had a tshuva about this. But he never published it, you know, before he passed away. Never. He's kept it in the closet.
Why?
In the drawer. That's the question. Why? Right? Why didn't he publish it, right? What happened? He forgot? I don't think so. I don't think this is the thing, you know, he forgot about it. He wrote this, by the way, a long time ago, you know, when he was a young man, you know, like the age of my son. You know, something like that, right? So he was a young man at that time. So interesting, right? So what does it say over there? I saw the tshuva, right? So over there he says that it's okay to use this, you know, this kind of juice, you know, for kiddush. He says it's all right. Mutar. Doesn't agree with all these rabbis. What's the reason why? So he says over there that there's a whole lot of, you know, issues there going on. But the point is like this. He says, you know, once you add the water back, you know, to the concentrate, has the same taste as you know, grape juice. There's no difference. I mean, tastes the same, smells the same thing, same product. You know, just you took out the water and you put it back. That's it. You know, that's all it is. People do this all the time now. You know, these kinds of things. They also have, you know, I spoke to my friend, right? They also have now, you know, like, it's a long time already they have this. You know what I'm talking about, right? Dried milk. You ever see this in the store? Yeah. Dried milk, right? Yeah. What does it mean? They evaporate, right, all the water out of the milk, you know, so it becomes a powder. And then what you do is you buy the powder, right? You put it in the spoon, in the cup, and you add some water, and, right, voila. You have milk, right, to drink there, you know. They have this, you know, in the store. They have this.
It's not the same.
What does that mean? It's not the same.
Fresh is different.
Fresh is better, of course. Fresh is better. Of course. Nothing like fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, right? This can stay, by the way, but the advantage is like this, you know, with this one. The powdered milk. The advantage is that you can keep it on the shelf for years, you know, it doesn't spoil. You know what I mean? But, you know, right, fresh milk, right, 2 weeks, it's gone, right? That's it.
Yeah.
To put it in the garbage.
In case of war, it's a perfect.
Exactly. For war, that's why they used to make this thing. Yeah.
Israeli company Elite.
Okay, Elite, right.
Freeze-dry coffee.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, they have make it here also. They make it.
The same thing?
Not exactly the same because we're talking about coffee, right? But you're right, they dry it, they dry it, but that's to preserve the taste of it. That's the reason why they do it, for the coffee. It's a different issue, but anyway, right? So the point is, Maran says it tastes the same, smells the same. It's the same thing, I heard even from his son, he told me that he was giving, to his family, to taste it, he would give regular juice, fresh, and the dried, So he would give them both, and he would ask them, is it the same taste or different taste? They would say it's the same. They all said it's the same, When it comes to the wine, Kerem is right. There's concentrate in there, what I mean? But it's good juice, pretty good, right? It's not as good as the Israeli. You know why? Because Israeli is sweeter. The grapes over there are much sweeter than here, right? So over here it's a little bit bitter, But Israeli juice is like candy, like sukaria, very sweet. You know what I mean? Everything is sweeter over there, by the way, in Israel. Everything grows sweet over there. You know what I'm talking about. When you move here from there to here, right, and you taste the lemon over there, and you taste the lemon over here, two different things. The lemon over there is much sweeter. You can't understand what's going on. This is lemon. This is lemon. Two different things. It's not the same thing. Same thing with carrots, by the way, much sweeter over there. Carrots. Celery, lettuce, much sweeter over there. Everything is sweet.
Everything is natural.
Natural and sweet, right. But it's also blessed, from Eretz Israel, Eretz HaKadosha, what I mean? Besides the fact that it's natural. Okay, I don't want to get into that. That's not my business right now. But anyway, the point is like this, that Maran allows. So, question is, right, what's the halacha, right? It seems like most of the rabbis don't allow this. You know what I mean? Over there in Israel. So then what should we do? Can we use kedem or not, right? Or should we stop using kedem, right? And buy some wine instead, right? So the answer is, right, I'll tell you something interesting. I think that the Maran, Rabbi, he was right. And I'll tell you why. Explain to you why. I don't want to go too long, so I'll do it fast. There's a halakha in the Shulchan Aruch like this, right? Brought down about Kiddush. You know what it says there? It says that you can use wine which is made out of raisins, right? Raisin wine, right? So you go to the store, right? You buy raisins, right? So what do you do with it? What do? You soak it in the water, and you cook it, right? And the flavor comes out, into the water. So even though the raisins are relatively dry, right? But that water now is called yain. You can make kiddush on this. It says in the Shulchan Aruch. So if a person, let's say, you went somewhere, right? You went somewhere, there's no Jewish community there. You know what I mean? There's no kosher wine. What should he do? Very simple, Buy some grapes, or squeeze them, or take raisins, right? And do like this, what we said.
Raisin doesn't have to be kosher?
That's the thing, it is kosher, there's nothing there. You know what I mean? There's nothing in raisins. It's just pure. Just like when you buy grapes in the store, it's the same thing, right? What, it needs kashrut, grapes. Right? So also raisins doesn't need kashrut. Doesn't need kashrut, right? Whoever tells you, by the way, raisins need kashrut, you have to have his head examined. Take him to the doctor. You know what I mean? I'm sorry.
Here people stamp everything.
Right, exactly. You know why? For business, for money. Stamp, money, business, dollarim. Right? You have dollarim over there. That's why. Not because you need kashrut for this. Sure, why not? Sure. Anyway, right, the point is, right, that it says over there, in the Shulchan Aruch, you can use wine like this. Maran told us, by the way, when he was in Mitzrayim, when he was young, he was a rabbi there in Mitzrayim. So they had no kosher wine over there. So what did he do? He cooked the raisins like this, That's how they had wine. That's how he did.
The same our country.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. So here's the thing now, right? What happens over here, right, with the raisins? They get dry, right? How do they get dry? Or from the sun, or, some heat source, right? From the factory, right? They have some heat. So they dry the raisins, you know what I mean? They get dried out, And then, right, so you cook it, right? It goes back into the water, the flavor goes into the water. So it's the same thing as what we just talked about here, right? Concentrate, same thing. It gets dried out, and then you put the water back. Same thing.
Hold on.
Right, huh?
If you make a compote with the grapes,
Oh.
is it considered shriakol or?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. If you make it only with grapes, this is wine. But here's the thing, right? Oh, he's asking a good question. Here's the thing. Yes, it's wine, but you have to remove the grapes from there. If you don't remove the grapes, it's shakol. Once you remove the grapes, the husks, the skin, everything, right? And it's just liquid, right? Then it's wine. You have to remove it.
Squeeze the juice out of it.
Right, and remove the husks. If you're making compote, you got to take out the fruits from there. And then it's wine. Yes. So that's the thing, So therefore, right, since we see, right, that the wine, with the raisin wine is kosher for Kiddush, it says in Shulchan Aruch, same thing with this. What's the difference? Adrabah, right, I tell you, this is even better. Why? Because the original juice, is still there, just adding water. But here, you have to remove the juice from the grape, from the raisins, right, which is harder, right? It's the indirect. So therefore, Rabbi, whoever needs to use, kedem, grape juice, the minhag over here in America is that everybody uses it, That's the minhag over here. Over there in Israel, nobody uses it. You know why? Because they have fresh, they don't need it. They have 10 companies, making grape juice. Nobody needs this over there. But here we have no choice. We have only 1 or 2 companies, They're all the same. So we have no choice, So here we're gonna be nickel, lenient, B'ezrat Hashem. So if you need to make Kiddush on that, you could. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen, Amen. Rabbi Chaim Shomer, Tzikadosh Baruch Hu L'Zok L'Yisrael, לפיכך חיבה להם תורה ומצוות שממנו לחפש, למען צדקו יגדיל תורה בידי.